A single violent strike across my cheek shattered nearly to decades of careful silence. When my sister-in-law slapped me in front of my tearful daughters and called me a fake parent, she unknowingly unraveled her own cozy life. She thought she was putting a self-made nobody in his place. What she did not realize was that the man she humiliated had been quietly funding her entire lifestyle for years, and my endless patience had just run out completely. My name is David, and my whole world revolves around my wife Sarah and our two incredible daughters. Years ago, nature closed the door on us having biological children, but adoption gave us something far greater. From the second those girls entered our home, they became my entire heart and soul. I never considered them anything less than my real blood. Every decision I make starts and ends with protecting them from harm. Unfortunately, Sarah's older sister Brenda always viewed my family with pure contempt. Back when Sarah and I first met, I was struggling to keep a tiny tech business afloat while living paycheck to paycheck. Brenda judged me instantly and never stopped. Every holiday meal came with subtle insults, smirked comments, and reminders that Sarah had married beneath her status. I chose to stay silent, believing that absorbing her spite was a small price to pay for family peace. Hard work eventually paid off, and my small tech company grew into a major success. We built a comfortable life, but I never bragged about our wealth. Meanwhile, Brenda and her husband Greg fell into deep debt. To help them out, Sarah and I secretly paid their mortgage and private school tuition. Brenda foolishly believed the money was a gift from her sister's personal savings. I let her believe that lie because keeping the peace felt more important than taking credit. Everything fell apart at a summer backyard gathering. My youngest daughter ran to me in tears after Brenda's son repeated cruel words he had overheard at home. He told my girls they were just charity kids, whose birth parents discarded them. Hearing that broke my heart. I walked over, looked the boy in the eye, and gently explained that my daughters belonged in this family just as much as anyone else. Before I could say another word, Brenda marched across the grass, grabbed her son, and slapped me across the face hard, enough to stun the entire yard. She screamed that I was not a real father, because I had adopted instead of giving Sarah a true family. My daughters watched the whole humiliating scene unfold. Sarah immediately jumped to my defense, but Greg quickly chimed in, asking everyone to forget it because it was just family tension. That was the exact moment I realized my mistake. They treated me like garbage because I had spent 17 years shielding them from their own failures. That evening, after putting my daughters to bed, I logged into my bank account and canceled every automatic transfer to Brenda and Greg. Their mortgage support vanished, their tuition coverage stopped, and their financial safety net dissolved in a matter of seconds. It was not anger, but the end of undeserved kindness. Panic set in within 2 weeks. Brenda called Sarah begging for help, blaming me for ruining her life. Sarah finally laid out the hard truth. Every dollar keeping their household afloat had come directly from my pocket. The man Brenda openly mocked was the only reason she had a roof over her head. Sarah also revealed the private burden I had carried for years. The fertility issues had been hers, not mine. But I had willingly taken the blame to protect her from family shame. Brenda was left completely speechless by the truth. Meanwhile, I met with my lawyer to press charges for the physical assault. I also notified the bank about financial irregularities on the loan I had previously co-signed for Greg. Without my backing, the lender took immediate action. The cushioned life they had taken for granted completely disintegrated overnight. Desperate to fix things, Greg invited us to dinner under the pretense of making peace. In reality, they just wanted their allowance back. They offered empty apologies only because consequences had finally caught up with them. I told them straight out that they were not sorry for the disrespect, just terrified of paying their own bills. I informed them that the legal charges were moving forward and our financial connection was permanently severed. Brenda broke down and begged for another chance, promising public apologies. I simply took my wife's hand, stood up, and walked away. I had spent 17 years protecting the wrong people, and my only responsibility now was the family waiting for me at home. Over the next few months, justice took its natural course. Brenda pled guilty to the assault charges. Greg lost the house to foreclosure, and they were forced to downsize drastically. The only message I kept was a handwritten card from their son, who genuinely apologized for his words and learned a lesson his parents never mastered. A few weeks later, my youngest daughter looked up from her homework and asked if we were a real family. I pulled her into a tight hug and told her we were as real as it gets. Blood makes relatives, but love builds a family. I choose my daughters every single day, and no amount of cruelty will ever change that. If this story reminded you of the true power of choosing family and standing up for what is right, please hit that like button. It truly helps our channel grow and share more stories like this with people who need to hear them. Don't forget subscribe.